Good evening, good morning, good night, you lovelies. It is the one, the only Cappy D Bar, and we are here to get to some sports. All right, it's been very interesting. All right, I was not prepared for the fights ahead of me, but the Jake Paul fight with Anthony Joshua, fairly entertaining fight overall. It went to about 6 rounds. A lot of people give credit to Jake Paul for even going the limit that he did. Logan Paul, Japan's most famous export, he was there, and it really did seem like, and I'm not gonna lie, for like 2 seconds, this was going to go the absolute distance, because Jake Paul was kind of taunting, and the round was kind of nearing its end, so, you get 30 seconds in a corner, you run around for the next 3 minutes, it's not hard to make it to another round. But Anthony Joshua, he put the pause on that boy. I ain't gonna hold you, man. He put the pause on that boy. It was masterful. It was masterful. In his speech, in his little announcement afterhand, Jake Paul released that his jaw was broken. Not surprised by that. He's Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua called out Tyson Fury. Fury, I do not know if Tyson Fury has the cardio to withstand, but I do know Tyson is a fucking crazy striker. Those right hands aren't going to be baby punches, right? And realistically, Anthony Joshua, Tyson's probably gonna, an in shape Tyson Fury. I don't know if we can see that. Even his style, it does kind of feel more like drunken master-esque. Kind of, I don't know, kind of like drunken boxer. So maybe that's what he'll stick with when it comes to Anthony Joshua. But that's even if he takes up the fight, right? Speaking of boxers, Canelo, the famous boxer from Mexico City, he was in a AAA event, unfortunate. But, this card had a couple of things, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, Dominic was there, Vikingo was there in a Grinch mask. It was a pretty okay pay-per-view. It was a pretty okay pay-per-view all in all. Lucha Libre shit. I was a big fan of Lucha Underground, so I wasn't too upset with this. We even had like some, had some Blancos on there, a couple of white boys hooping. So it was cool. It was fine for what it was. What the real meat and potatoes of the week was, what the real meat and potatoes of this video is going to be, though, is Smackdown. All right, December 18th, all right, 2025, and all right, Collision, all right, December 20th, 2025. Damn, it was the 19th. All right, Smackdown, all right, December 19th, 2025, and AEW's Collision, all right, December 20th, 2025. 2 fairly okay promotions. Interestingly, I kind of felt like similar ways about them. Very interesting. Listen, SmackDown was reasonable at best. They're continuing this Damian Priest and Aleister Black thing. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But, credit where credit is due. AEW has, had a very, let's say, elongated feud, a very lengthy feud between Kenny Omega and the one Don Callis. So, there's that, right? To kind of comparing oranges to apples or whatever. But, this feud is tiresome. It doesn't have amazing 5-star matches, and this feud doesn't have Kenny Omega. So, there's that. It's really nothing. There's a couple of table spots. I think Zelina trips up Damian Priest or something. I don't know if Rhea comes out. I don't really give a fuck if Rhea came out, honestly. This should be Ron Killings. They had that amazing back and forth backstage where Aleister Black kind of acknowledged the multiple personalities inside of Ron Killings, and it's creative and triple fraud seeing that. He was like, no, get that off that screen. I can't say that. Last Legend and Kairi Sane, hoops. I don't know if it was the Kabuki Warriors versus Nia Jax and Lash. That wouldn't really make a lot of sense because that's 2 heel factions, but the fucking nose doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, so we're not gonna really comment too much on that. It was fine. Kairi Sane, Last Legend, 2 future world champions in my opinion. I mean, easily the future of this industry when it comes to women's wrestling, but they have to be given the proper they have to be given the proper push. They have to be given the proper reins to things, right? Just really stupid. It's dumb. I'm not a fan of it. Eli Dragunov and Melo versus DIY. Fairly competent match. Fairly competent match. Johnny Gargano, one of my more I could say underperforming wrestlers for this year. He definitely showed up and showed out. I mean, same thing with Ela and Melo as they always do. It's a bit of a spoiler, but Melo picked up the championship last night, so that's great. They're taping shows, because they want people to go home for the holidays and blase, whatever. This is fine on its face. Melo and Ela kind of just like dusting up together, being across the ring from one another, running the tag ropes together. It's all positive. Melo is a net positive on this brand, and I think that they finally realized that. Shout out to him. Lastly, we're going to be talking about Julia versus Alba Fire. Did you care? Neither did the crowd. This was hard. This was a tough one to watch. Mainly because Julia is so talented, and she was only like 2 years removed from being like New Japan's brightest star, and now she's here. Same place that Stephanie Vakir's in, and they're just doing what? Doing what? What are they doing? Yeah, all right, okay. Listen, I want more for Julia, former Women's United States champion. Listen, in the perfect timeline, her and fucking Kairi Sane had a fucking best of 5 for that IC women's belt, but it's not what we got, right? We didn't get her going for any other kind of main or secondary title, and unfortunately, I kind of think she's kind of where Roxanne and Raquel Rodriguez are, where they're just kind of misting along the mid-coast, where they're just misting along the mid-card, because everybody up there, including Rhea and Tiffy, which is like whatever, those Rhea, Jade, Naomi on the horizon, Liv kind of working her way back into the mold. There isn't really any space for some of these like up and coming talents, and that really reflects also in the men's card, right? Like, I forget when the fuck it was. It might have been like last night's Raw, maybe Smackdown. I could give a fuck less. Nikki Bella came out and the internet like lost their mind about it. In my mind, I'm like, but Nikki Bella's been fine since 2011. So like why y'all shocked? Like, y'all shocked because like she's still fine. That's great. That's awesome. Is there anybody else in that locker room that we can get other than Chelsea Green and Nikki Bella? No? Okay. All right. Fuck me then, right? Fuck me. This segment ends, this night ends, or I think it ends. It ends here for this channel. All right. With Cody Rhodes kind of cussing out Nick Aldis. He cuts this promo that's really reminiscent of this kind of idea that's been going around really since Cody started like making his bigger runs in AEW, with him just kind of feeling very manufactured, like very cookie cutter, no pun intended. It's weird because when you think back to his promo where he was like, I said this was over and now it's not over anymore. That started making its rounds like a day or two ago on Twitter. And I was telling myself, that's a good promo. It's a nice promo. And then I'm listening to this promo and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what the fuck happened in the span of 14? Maybe 21 days? How did we get here to where I am very unimpressed. I'm very unimpressed with this promo. I think it just goes back to my conversation of Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce looking like fucking stooges, right? They have no authority. They have no hearsay. Like, Drew McIntyre in kayfabe was listening to Paul Heyman, and not once did Paul Heyman get his fucking neck ringed by fucking Adam Pearce, by fucking Michael the fucking pedo Hayes, anybody, right? For making these on-the-fly decisions in kayfabe, obviously, for the brands. Like, Nick Aldis should have been like, Paul Heyman, you disgusting piece of fucking trash. If you do something like that to my brand, I'll fucking put Braun in a 1 versus the fucking roster match. Or, I don't know if this is making sense here, but the idea is that the managers have no control or no hearsay, and that Drew storyline encapsulated that perfectly. So now with Cody going out there just kind of kicking him in the fucking nuts and going on about his day. He didn't actually kick him in the nuts, right? But just kind of just telling him to fuck off and going about his day. It really does set this picture that the managers, they really have no power at all, like kind of to do anything. Now, to be honest, right, the collision left me with the same kind of feeling of unfinishedness that I kind of started SmackDown with, and it was difficult for me to separate my feelings, honestly, from SmackDown and Collision. If you guys have noticed, I'm also using a new mic. That was due to some personal issues, right? So it's a lot of things happening going into this Collision, but it performed and it performed well. A couple things that I will be making my gripes with immediately, as I've been, informed from my trusty Secretary of State, Twitter, and the TBS title hasn't had a proper defense for like a good pay-per-view or two. And I think it's been on a couple of Dynamites, but I think it's that thing where it's like the TNT title isn't defended on Collision. I think it's like one of those kind of things because it's not TBS brand pay-per-views. Maybe there isn't a TBS defense. I don't know. Maybe this is clicking. Maybe it's not clicking. Who knows? But another thing I'm actually like really annoyed about, the cameras and the wires. There's too many of it. Too much. Too many of them. It's too many of them. Get some of these niggas out the way. The ring's too small. The ring's been small for like a good week when they're in London. I don't know if it's like an international thing. The ring looked fucking crazy when they were in Australia. I don't know what that was about. But yeah, that's my little 1-2 on the things that bothered me about this collision. Also, it taking place on a Saturday. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Move the day, bro. I'm sorry. I have to carve out my fucking Saturday to watch fucking wrestling at 8 something p.m. And I was actually out with somebody that I do cherish a little bit more than some graps. All right. Sorry, the IWC. Some of us have lives. Okay. This was a very, very nice collision all in all, though. But those are just a couple of things that I just found small issue with. Really, they're just silly little banter talking points. Okay. It's really just agenda piece for fucking wrestling. The Speedball Mike Bailey and Jack Perry match was very, very good. It was a very, very good match. I really liked the NBA standing presentation with, like, you know, Kevin Knight having 3 points, Kazuchika Okada having 6 points. You know, I really do think that we are slowly but surely, if you guys are paying attention, building towards this Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada. I really do believe that that's what we're building towards for our Continental Classic finale. I'm really excited about that. Also, one other thing, if this collision is happening, then what the fuck was Holiday Black? Then what the fuck was the Holiday Bash? Was the Holiday Bash just 3 hours of Dynamite wrestling? Okay, whatever. That's neither here nor there. So what we will be talking about next, all right, is about Mercedes Moné, the CEO, versus Alex Windsor, the Destroyer. Okay, this is a very, very good match. I love Mercedes Moné's graps. I think I can say this as, you know, as many times as I can, and people keep calling me a mark. It is what it is. Alex Windsor has a really nice way of just taking charge in that ring. It's kind of a different, it's a completely different game than what Kevin Knight can do with controlling and understanding the pace. Alex Windsor, she pushes it at such a such a volatile speed that you have to put your brakes on, right? And the idea is that Mercedes Moné, she couldn't put her brakes on, and this led to her getting rolled up 1, 2, 3, and that was the end of the match. It was really good. I really liked Mercedes Moné kind of just having this dissension. You know, the times of 14 and 13 belts are gone, you know, and it was a good run. It was a really good run, but you know, we're in our broke bucks era for Mercedes Moné, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Hey, she's gonna make it fucking gold, all right? The Mercedes Moné face run is going to be fucking beast, okay? She's fucking over internationally. She's over in her home crowd. And that's really all that fucking matters if you want to book a heel, okay? A match I kind of skipped over, and I don't mean it by any disrespect. Eddie Kingston versus the Job Squad. I don't know who this guy was. I don't know who the guy was. Good performer. He sold for Eddie. I mean, he finished it with a DDT. I think that's Eddie's. I guess that's Eddie's secondary finisher, because it's maybe that's his signature, possibly, because I know Eddie's thing is the back fist, right? Or maybe I don't remember. I don't know why I remember Eddie Kingston doing a spine buster. Maybe I'm confusing Eddie Kingston with Powerhouse Hobbs, right? I think I am. Listen, this was a really cool match. Eddie Kingston does his thing. I'm never gonna shit on Eddie Kingston. Really does seem like, again, he's slowly but surely getting back into the groove of things. And I really do think that within 6 or so months time, he will be in the title contendership once again. And I think he's very deserving of it. All right, to circle back though, I really like the performance from Alex Windsor and Mercedes Moné. As I stated, it was just a good little trios of matches that we got, and one was a squash, but I mean, you know, if that's your fancy, it's your fancy. My only real issue, right, with this collision is that the finish to the main event is the same as the finish to the match prior, and I wasn't a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that shit at all. It was a fruit roll up, right? Now it was Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, versus the Kinetic Knight, all right? And it was really, really fucking good. I mean, Kevin Knight, I can't glaze the brother enough. Pause, all right? He is beyond phenomenal. He calls himself the Jet. I like Kinetic Knight a little more. But I mean, again, him and Speedball Mike Bailey have been putting on absolute fucking classics, all right, in this Continental Classic, no pun intended, all right. Even going all the way back to Speedball Mike Bailey's match with Jack Perry, hitting fucking Ultimo fucking weapon, like hitting fucking Ultima weapons or Ultimo weapons just anywhere he fucking can. It was a really nice story. I really liked like that ending. Nice story, all right? I really like the story being told here as well. Kevin Knight just trying to get over this hill that is, the Rainmaker, right? 6'3" Kazuchika Okada. We had Don Callis on the comms, which I am never, ever going to be fucking upset about. And honestly, this match went for a good 16 minutes. I was kind of surprised it was our main event, but nonetheless, this was our main event, and fuck did it perform, okay? Again, the finish was just interesting, being that it was a fruit roll-up and it wasn't, a splash to kind of put over Kevin Knight. But I mean, I guess that's Okada just protecting the title. Hypothetically, we could all say that this is also maybe how like DPW and Rev Pro were protecting their champions, with Mercedes Moné getting, roll-ups on them, right? So, a lot of people have issues with the fruit roll-up back-to-backs, but honestly, I think here it kind of made sense for like a story like two champions kind of getting usurped by the up-and-coming champions. Funny enough, this is kind of what John Cena's entire idea was, the future being now and the youth taking the reins. So I guess through like a kayfabe lens, I guess I'm kind of okay with it. But I will be honest, if this was the Fed, I might have wringed their fucking necks about it. But I mean, again, like when you look into the story of like a Continental Classic, somebody has to beat somebody, a belt collector like Mercedes Moné, she has to have a downfall eventually. I guess the fruit roll-ups kind of have a purpose, don't they? Who knows? But that was Collision, all right? That was Collision, December 20th, 2025, and Smackdown, all right? December 8th, and Smackdown, December 19th, 2025, all right? Again, one left me just a little bit, one kind of just stuck in my crosshairs a little bit more than the other, but, Collision wasn't perfect, right? I mean, there was a couple of dead air moments for me personally, where I would have just liked for things to pick up, some of those promos, but, we got what we got, and all we got, and overall, with everything with Melo being United States champion, shout out to you, bro, and, this storyline kind of progressing very rapidly with Hangman Adam Page, Swerve, MJF, everything that we're getting with FTR. I mean, I'm looking forward to World's End, right? I'm not so much looking forward to the next WWE pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, but that's neither here nor there, all right? This be your boy Cappy D Barra, all right? I got a couple more stuff going up for today, pinky promise, all right? And as I always say, all right, stay tuned, stay safe, stay beautiful. Peace.